So, the Titans from DC Universe left us on quite the cliffhanger, where it appeared that Starfire's memories had returned, and she remembered that her mission was to kill Raven, which she began to do, and oh no, the next episode is a filler episode. To sort of stretch it out, because the entire point of this season is Raven. And so little by little, you get everyone's story. Certainly Dick Grayson's story. We got a lot of Dick Grayson because, well, it works better as a Robin show. he's the best part of it. Beast Boy, I guess they handled that mostly with the Doom Patrol episode, which was basically a pilot for Doom Patrol. But I don't know that they've given him a full episode just on his backstory. Why am I blanking on it? I don't think so, but maybe that was just for him. But everyone pretty much got theirs, Raven, of course, and then finally we'll get one for Starfire and figure out what's the mystery there. But first, we got to go back to the happy couple we met earlier of Hawk&Dove and detail their story. Now the title would be Hank and Dawn. And so it gives you some amount of everybody says fan service these days, but I guess it is because it's to the Hawk&Dove story, which was originally two men. They were brothers, and one was more aggressive and the other one was more pacifist. Both could fight very well, but there they go. They were the yin and yang of that. So they detail that in this version. They had two fathers, and one was black apparently, as Dawn is mixed race. And they grow up together and had a pretty hard time of it. And boy, again, with one of the complaints about the Zack Snyder movies was that it was too dark. Yeah, boy, the Titans is way darker than anything Zack Snyder did. So here we have the revelation that yes, Hank Hawk was molested by his coach in school when he was very, very young. And actually sacrificed himself to protect his brother from this pedo coach. And so that sets up the reasons of his violent rage and whatnot. And he follows that through their lives. And Dawn, on the other hand, feels kind of guilty about that and tries to help him out. And they look out for each other, even though he knew that a lot of times Hank's problems were of his own making. But he was trying to dull the pain of the memory of that horrific event. And so you follow them through college, and then Hank kind of screws it up because he can't control his anger and all that sort of stuff. And Dawn tries to find an outlet for him when he gets kicked off out of his football scholarship and all that sort of stuff. And that becomes the origin of their superhero life, and it's more of Dawn setting it up for the purposes of helping his brother. And he's saying, look, we can look up guys like these guys. And he knows, even though Hank never admits what happened, Dawn knows exactly what happened, but Hank would never fess up to it. So he says, hey, look, here's some guys who they were let out on some technicality, even though they clearly molested some kids and stuff. So let's go teach them a lesson. And so that's what they do, and that's the birth of Hawk&Dove. They go and beat up guys who managed to skip justice. And they videotape themselves doing it and all this stuff, and they get in on it. It makes sense in the sense that they live in this DC Comics world. So you have to understand there's already a Batman and a Superman. Probably would have been better if they had made mention of that. And they kind of do, and they say, look out, Batman and Robin, there's a new team or whatever, something like that. But it needed more of that, and I suppose it just wasn't in the budget to like show news footage or something like that, that there's this superhero world going on, and that you would see people kind of getting into the fad of it. And that's kind of where Hawk&Dove come in and all that. So it shows that that's the original team for a little while. And then they happen upon Dawn and her mother, and we discover that Dawn had a pretty rough childhood herself, as her father was very abusive of both her and her mother, and she's trying to talk her mother into leaving him, and she's weak, and I love him and all that. By the way, her mother was Deanna Troi from Star Trek. So they just happened to meet each other on the street, and there's little eyes exchange between Hank and Dawn and all that. Oh boy. And then out of nowhere, a van comes in and massacres people on the street, killing both Dawn and Lady Dawn's mother. Deanna Troi gets killed. And so they end up getting to know each other. There's this support group, because plenty of other people lost loved ones in this terrible event. And so they go to this support group and they meet each other, and then they start dating, and there you go. That's how the team gets together. There's some weak points here and there, but overall, a pretty credible way of detailing this story. And also, I wasn't big on the actress playing Dove, and I'm still not. She did a little better job in this one than she did in the previous one. But now the way they set up the story, she secretly has deep romantic feelings for Dick Grayson. And now you kind of feel even worse for her, because Hank really comes across as the sympathetic character here. And then she pretty much indulges the superhero life of his. She inadvertently discovers that's what he's been doing, and he explains it all. And then he eventually confesses to what happened to him, and she finds where this coach has been and seeks him out. And so he's just didn't want to face it, because then if he did, then that really cements it in his own mind of dealing with what really happened. But they do. Of course, the guy's still looking at child porn and all this crap. So they beat the living crap out of him, and then the door shuts and the camera backs away and fades to black. It's kind of left. Did they kill him? I don't know. But no one's going to care. So, so there you go. Hawk and Dove introduced in this DC universe after all the complaints about Snyder movies being too dark. So we wanted a lighter tone, and do you? What the hell is this? So, meanwhile, the only other member of the which I guess technically the Hawk and Dove will be members of the Titans. I don't remember them being members of the Titans. I know they were with the Birds of Prey for a while. Maybe still are. I don't know. The one man who could join the team, I guess. But anyway, Raven kept appearing to them, and we can assume, we'll find out, of course, that while Starfire is attacking her, she's sending out some sort of psychic calls for help, and the only one else she could reach would be Hawk and Dove, who she only met briefly. And hopefully they'll make some sense of it, that she also appears to Dick or something while he's on the way there. So, but anyway, that's what was happening, and she would appear in their flashbacks, which was them dreaming, while Dove, who was still in the hospital after what happened to her in their fight with the nuclear family, she was in a coma, and Hank's there waiting for her to wake up. And then, they've already demonstrated that the toll of the superhero life is taking quite a bit of punishment on his body, and so he sneaks off to the drug room and helps himself to some painkillers, and he drifts off into his own coma, sort of. So that explains all the visions of Raven popping up here and there, and they finally see it, and then they wake up, and Raven needs our help, in the end. So there you go with Hank and Dawn, the story of Hawk and Dove, that, maybe you didn't ask for it, but you got it anyway, and it wasn't so bad, just disturbingly dark. So 4 or 3.5 out of 5 stars for Hank and Dawn. So there's only 2 episodes left of this season. We'll see how that goes, and hopefully they can get Swamp Thing up and running pretty soon for this platform to work. Come on. You need more new shows. They got a lot of old stuff that's cool and everything, but seen most of that. So there you go for that one. And hopefully they need to cast Batman, I think, pretty quick. for the next season, and that would be great. And then, of course, the call for a Batman series. They really need to do it. All right, thank you for watching and listening. Why not like and subscribe? Sure, why not? And check out the link description below. That'll take you to my mini stores that have plenty of goodies for you.